Welcome to NixNoob. In this video, we're going to take a look at text editors on Linux, specifically Nano versus Vim. Both are really good editors made to be used from a terminal. And if you're looking at an article online, depending on the preferences of the person writing the article, it'll usually tell you to use one or the other, but they're completely interchangeable. So here's an article on how to edit your host file in Linux. I don't know if you can see that. I'll zoom in a little bit. And so you can see here it's telling you to do a sudo nano etc host. And if you prefer Vim, you can use Vim instead of Nano. So this just depends on the person writing the article. But I would recommend if you're new to Linux or don't edit files from the terminal that often. Nano is much easier to use. It's kind of self-explanatory. I'm going to zoom in here and CD to desktop. Let's see, test. And I think I already, nope. Okay, so we'll basically just let's man cat and pipe that to a file called cat.txt. And now we'll just go nano cat.txt. And, I should have probably just did fortune or something. This is kind of a big file, but in Nano, we can just come in and type in whatever we want. This is a test. And to save it, you can see down at the bottom, it says Control G for help, Control X for exit. The little arrow means control. Control O to write out, Control R to read a file, Control F to find, Control / to replace. You get the idea. It tells you what the commands are right at the bottom. So if I want to save this file from Nano, I just Control X. It asks me if I want to save the modified buffer. I say yes. And that just edited that file. In Vim, it's very different. If I go Vim cat.txt, Vim has two different modes. It starts you out in edit mode. Basically, what that means is I can hit DD to delete an entire line. I can see DW to delete a word. So basically, you've got keyboard combinations in Vim, and it's not obvious what those are. If we want to search for text, we can hit / let's say test, and that's going to highlight that. We can hit it again to go to the next next occurrence. But anyway, to save a file here, well, one, if we want to edit text, we have to hit I for insert mode. And you can see at the bottom, it says now that I'm in insert mode. This is a test from Vim. And to save that, I have to hit escape and then colon and then write to write the file. And if I also want to quit, then Q. So write quit. And that'll save the file and exit. If we go back into Vim there, go back to insert mode, do a 1, 2, 3. Now I could also just escape colon write. That wrote the file, but I'm still in the file. And I have to hit I to get back into insert mode. 4, 5, 6. Same thing, escape colon write. And that writes out the file again. But to exit, I would have to go colon Q. And now I exited the file. And depending on if the file's not owned by you, let's just say this is owned by root. So I'll just sudo chown root and do cat.txt. And type in my password, and then I will do a sudo chmod do group and other minus write permission cat.txt. So now if we look at that file, it's owned by root, and group and other user can't write to it. So now if I go nano cat.text, you can see it tells me that it's unwritable. And if I come in here and try to save this, Control X, and say yes, it tells me error, permission denied. So in order to write to this, I would have to just run sudo. So we'll just Control X to exit. No, I don't want to save the buffer. And now we'll just say sudo nano cat.text. And now we will save that. And now it's saved that, no problem. If we look at it, our permissions are the same. In Vim, it's a little different. So Vim cat.txt. I can go into insert mode, and you can see at the bottom it says warning, changing a read-only file. Now if I hit escape and do write, it tells me that it can't, but it tells me that I can add an explanation point to override. So we'll try that. And it was able to write that file. But that also changed the permissions on the file. I believe if I go quit and do a lsal, you can see that now nixnoob owns that file. So if I go back and change the owner on that, do an ls, so we can see that lsal, we can see that that's owned by root again. I can also do a sudo vim cat.text. Now it doesn't warn me that it's not owned by me. Test2 from vim. And now if I escape colon and do a write quit, it saved that file, but if we lsal, we can see that it's still owned by root. So you can see the difference. Vim is a lot more powerful. There's a lot more you can do with it, but Nano is very simple. So depending on how much you want to be editing text from the command line, if you're going to do a lot of it, I highly recommend learning Vim. If you're just going to do it every now and then Nano is probably the right choice for you. And also, in a lot of cases, you don't even need it. Like, for instance, let's say we're making a fake host file real quick. So let's just echo 123.0.0.10 and call it test.com. And we'll pipe that to host. So ls, now we have a host file in here. It's not a real host file. I mean, it would have to be an etc host to be a real host file. But if I cat that file, there we go. If we wanted to add a line to that, we don't need to use Nano or Vim. We can just echo and what I do before. Let's do 123.0.11 00.11 to test2.com, and we can just append that to hosts. Need to close my paren there. Now if we cat hosts, We just added that line to the host file without having to use a text editor at all. So depending on what you're doing, you might, not even need a text editor at all. But again, to recap, Nano, simple, self-explanatory. If you're new to Linux, probably best to use that anywhere, you see it say, any article that you're following that says to use Vim, just substitute Nano for Vim and you won't have any issues. And if you are going to be doing a lot of text editing on the terminal, definitely take a look at Vim. And that is it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss future content. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.